Do,
I
do.
think I saw that.
Can you guys hear Zach now? Let me know.
I should probably say something, huh?
Yeah. Can hear him now? Awesome.
Cool. Thank you. All right, let's start over.
All right. So, yeah. How we met, me and Zach. I guess you can start that because I barely remember.
You barely remember.
Yeah.
I think how we met. Well, we definitely met originally through
Game day, I think.
through game day. Yes, I think you were like you had been there a couple times, like
Oh yeah.
physically were there a couple times, and I saw you. And I don't know if we talked much when you were like at game day. When I started like doing more online with them, I think that's when I actually like met you. We had met like
Was it League that we
I
started
think
talking?
I think it was League, yeah.
Oh yeah. Interesting.
Yeah. But you had asked before we had to mess with the audio settings, like how I'd been recently, so I'll go back to that.
Yeah.
Because me and my girlfriend bought a house, excuse me, in October. Yeah, we moved in October. I think we settled in September, end of September. So it's been like close to 6 months. I don't know the exact math on that, but buying a house is right now it's pretty crazy. Like anybody who's looking, like the market is like insane because people are from COVID. They're buying and selling houses like crazy.
Yeah.
So the market is like very unstable. Like you could list a house and it'll sell almost instantly in most like decent areas. So we started the buying like the process of buying our house like before that volatility hit. So we kind of had a pretty smooth process. But I can't imagine buying a house right now because of how like
Mm.
like I said, like volatile the market is basically. But honestly, Kelly did 95% of the work of buying the house. It was very easy for me, and that was like in terms of like searching for the house,
I'm
picking
sh-
the house. I helped pick the house.
I'm sure it's a lot of research too.
Yes, it's a lot of research because like when you buy a house, you gotta like consider the area, what's around. If you plan on having kids, like what the school districts look like. That's really important because you can't change the school district once you move.
Right.
So there's a lot of research, and I don't even know I don't even know the half of it. So Kelly did most of the work. Like I tell everybody, like she did 95% of the work. I did like 5%.
All right. Well, next time I see her and I'm trying to look for a house, I'll ask her for some advice.
For real,
Yeah.
she has a lot of she learned a lot of stuff from this. I learned a little bit, but she learned a crazy amount of stuff about buying a house. For real.
So basically, I've been getting into stocks lately. So basically, what you did was you bought the dip.
Yeah, we did because now anybody you ask who because a lot of our not a lot of our friends, but we have like one of Kelly's relatives is in the process of looking for a house, and like we have friends who are looking for houses like after the dip, and they're all like, "This is a nightmare. Everything is like selling so quickly. We can't even go look at houses." So yeah, we bought the dip, and we were pretty happy with that.
Nice, dude.
It's not an easy process either. Buying a house takes a long time, like from beginning to end. It's not like a month. It's like several months.
Takes a few months.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, man.
Well, I'm happy you guys got a place.
Yeah,
and
we were pretty lucky. Like, because I never lived on my own. Kelly did for a little bit in college, but I was pretty lucky to be able to live at home for as long as I did to be able to afford a house. Or I guess I don't know if that directly made me be able to afford a house, but it definitely helped. So it's definitely really different too. Like going from living at home and like saving all that money to having your own place, like with no in between, like not going from living at home to an apartment or not going from living at home to, living in a dorm or something. We went from, well, again, she lived at school for a little bit, but living at home to living in our own home. So it's been a really weird transition.
Yeah. And also, I know it's been like a while, but I want to say my condolences to your dog.
Oh, thank you. I
Yeah,
appreciate that.
I watched that VOD and it made me tear up too.
Yeah,
Like,
man. It still sucks. Like and like we had talked before. Like nothing is off the table to talk about. I'm good now to talk about anything, but like really, like in all honesty, it still really sucks. Like to
yeah,
lose, you know, basically. Well, he was only he'd only been in my life for not even 5 years because it was Kelly's dog. But he was like my best friend, and he like took to me very very closely, and like it hurts way like I don't like comparing the death of like a pet to that of a human, like to a family member I've lost in the past or like a friend I've lost in the past, but it hurts differently. It hurts very differently, and it hurts really bad
mm,
because if you think about it, and like because I've thought a lot about it. Like if you think about it, you don't see your family, or your friends unless you like live with them and are immediately there with them as often as you do like your pet.
yeah,
You don't physically see them, you don't interact with them as often as you do your pet. So I just think it hurts differently and it hurts more because they're just always there, you know?
yeah.
So, but I appreciate that.
It sounds like you gave him a good life too.
Yeah, he had a hell of a life,
Yeah,
especially like it's so weird to say. And Kelly and I have talked about this so much. Like, thanks to COVID, his last year of life was so like it was probably the best year of his life because like we both worked, we both went to an office, we both commuted before COVID, but then COVID hit and we both turned to work from home. So we were there all day, every day with him to spend time with him. So he loved that.
it's awesome.
Yeah, and like we got to over the summer because like before we moved, he had some health issues like after we moved, so he wasn't able to do as much. But over the summer, we like took him on our parents' boat. We took him hiking one time. He had like a hell of a last year. He definitely had a really really good last year.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, I guess a few of my friends have been, like losing pets lately. It's like me personally, I don't own a pet because like
Hmm.
my family members, some of them are allergic, but like hearing a lot of those stories, it's like they're pretty much part of the family, and you spent a significant amount of time with them throughout
Yeah,
your
man,
life. So,
it's
uh,
hard. Like, and this is something that I imagine everybody goes through when they lose a pet or when they have a pet. It's like, what do you do after they're gone? Like, again, I hate making parallels to with people,
yeah,
but you can't help but make those parallels when you're thinking about it yourself. Like, how do you go from having this being in your life that's there all the time or like a lot of the time, and then they're gone? Like, do you fill that void with something afterwards? Do you move? Do you get another pet? Is like ultimately what, like, excuse me, it's this whole like it's very difficult to answer that question. And again, I don't think there's a very clear parallel you can draw to people because, like, again, it's very different relationship. But like there are parallels to like a marriage, for example. Like maybe let's say people get divorced. Like, how do you go from that to being okay and moving on to getting that feeling that same need? I think is what I'm trying to say. It's very difficult to
yeah,
transition to that, to like you know again, a parallel. I don't like making this, but just to make the argument, being married and like let's say you get divorced. Do you like how do you go to the point where you're ready to remarry again? Like with
right.
pets, it's like you have a pet, you have them in your life, they pass. How do you get to the point where you're okay to have another pet? You know,
Yeah,
and that's very difficult. It's very hard. It's
and
it's something that's been on my mind a lot.
and if you choose to have another one, it's like a completely different experience because they each have their own personalities too, right?
Yeah, man. And it's like I and I again I think if it were to happen, if I were to get if we were to get another pet, I think it'd be nice and I think it'd be great. But before like we physically have another pet, I can't help but think before we even get them that I would compare them too much to Deacon, and
Hmm.
that's not fair to
Yeah,
whatever. And again, the same thing with like people. Like you always feel like you're going to compare to the previous experience, but that's not fair to the new experience. You know,
Right.
so it's weird. It's a very weird, a very weird like conversation to have with yourself. But I think it's healthy to try and because I think it's part of the grieving process too.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. Because after all, like, let's say that pet was a person. That
Mhm.
person who passed would want to see you happy and go on with your life, right?
Yeah,
So,
exactly,
yeah,
100%. So it's definitely I don't know. It like I think because after he passed, we you know we the hospital that we had him at, he like they gave us like a bunch of resources for grief counseling and like dealing with
that's good.
the loss of a pet or something. We didn't end up really feeling like we needed it, but I can definitely see those things are really vital. I think for a lot of people who don't really because me and Kelly we were like complete open books with each other. Like we just talked everything out. We were there together. Like you know we helped get through the points of grieving very quickly because we were able to talk about it and like be very open about it. But for people who aren't like that or people who are alone and have to go through that by themselves, I could definitely see relying on those resources like being vital because like I said, we're at this point in the process of grief. I don't know the final point of it, but like where I could talk about it openly and like I don't feel terrible about him anymore, but getting to this point it was hard enough. Having somebody to talk through it with definitely helped. So I can definitely see those resources being like vital
Yeah,
for a lot of people, a lot of families too.
it's cool. I didn't know that they had those resources for people out there, but
Yeah,
mental health is
yeah,
very important for
yeah,
anything.
absolutely. It's something that you don't like. We didn't really expect. We didn't think it was going to happen, but after I think it was before like we left the hospital for the final time. They basically sent us all these resources. We were very surprised. But yeah, like I said, very very nice of them to do that, but we didn't see that coming. But it's very important.
I would like to say, like, one of my favorite videos that I saw on your pod was, I think it was the dog at the other side of the fence. That was like, he likes to greet that dog.
Oh, yeah. I think I have a
That's so
picture. Oh
cute.
no, I forget what I had. If it was a picture or video, but yeah, there was because we took him on a very specific walk every day, or Kelly did. When I was there, I would take him some days. But there was this dog towards the end of his walk that was like in a backyard that was fenced in, and it was an old golden retriever, and it was like fenced in, and there were these big trees like right towards the end of the fence, and the dog would like pincer itself between the trees and the fence like once or twice it ever happened, and he like would like whine at Deacon to come over to him, and I caught that on picture, and it was awesome because
That's
like
awesome.
they would always bark at each other, but we never really saw this dog because all the trees.
Yeah.
And then one day the dog just appeared from the trees between the fence and the trees, so I had to capture that. It was a great moment.
Do you still
Yeah,
see that
man.
dog around the fence? Or
Nah, because
I was like,
that was around
her,
where Kelly lived.
oh, her old place,
Yeah,
parents'
back in
house.
Philly. Yep. But yeah, man. I mean, that's something that's really nice. Is we took a lot of pictures and videos of him, so we're able to just like anytime, almost every day on Snapchat, I can look at my Snapchat memories, and there'll probably be a video of or a picture of Deacon.
Hmm.
And I'm at the point in the process where like I can look at that and I feel great. And I feel happy to have those memories and be able to like see that. So that's really nice.
So I guess we can talk about your streaming origins, which is interesting because I don't know much about this. I did know you streamed, and before, like, I was like, who's this ZLDSlim? Because you came into my chat like one day when I was playing League. Oh, that's
Hmm.
Zach from Game
Yeah,
Day.
that was so long
I
ago.
know
Damn. Yeah,
that
man.
was, and I think I remember I was like doing the some sort of charity stream. It was like a 24 hour with a bunch of my
Yeah,
old
I
friends.
actually remember that. I
Yeah,
do remember that. That was with mash those buttons or something like that.
they were like a small fighting game too.
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
that was interesting. Very interesting time of me when I was super into League.
Yeah, man. I mean, we got stuff we could talk about with League where
Oh yeah, we can
we
talk
can get
about
into that
League.
later. We have a League history
I
too.
know, I know.
But
But yeah, your
to answer
streaming
what's that?
origins.
Streaming origin,
Yeah,
yeah. So
yeah,
let me stay on topic. So it's weird in the sense that I started streaming like my first stream on Twitch probably was close to 7 or 8 years ago, maybe longer, but I don't know the exact date because all that stuff's lost
yeah.
to the sands of time. But I originally started streaming. I would like randomly just stream League of Legends, and also I think I also started playing Dark Souls and streaming that too. Again, years and years ago, with the because back then you couldn't really watch like on Steam how you can just go to a friend who's playing a game and you could just watch them, like you can spectate their game.
Yeah.
That kind of thing wasn't around back then. So I would have friends who would want to watch me like playing it. Like it was really like one or two friends who would want to watch me playing a game or watch me doing whatever I was doing, or even my brothers. So I would just stream. So I would play League. I remember when I first started way back then. Like I didn't have anybody really watching me. I didn't have anybody following me. I was just streaming to stream because I actually had friends. Excuse me. Um, way back then when I was like really into my full DGen League of Legends years. I had friends that lived in California that streamed.
Oh, I didn't know this.
Yeah, yeah. And most people don't actually because I don't really talk much about like when I was like full League DGen. But I had friends who lived in Cali who were on the different time zone, and we would play like literally play like all through the night until like 5 or 6 a.m. my time, just playing League, and they would be streaming. And then I eventually we had like a falling out after like a couple of years of like hanging with them.
Oh, no.
And then
Was it in game or was it something else outside of the game?
it was it was outside the game. It was outside
Okay.
of League. It
Okay.
was still game related, but like I don't know. It was just like weird tension of like people. They brought in like other people into the friend group, and like they were like looking back, they were like like mentally abusive. Like they were like just really
Oh
toxic and
no.
like abusive to like everybody. And they weren't like trying to get rid of them. So eventually, I just like found a way to get out of the friend group.
That's good.
When I'm very glad I did.
Yeah.
But yeah. So my origins, I after coming from that friend group, they were streaming and playing League, and I stopped talking to them, and I just started playing League myself, and I would just throw up my stream. I also remember I did a couple streams. I could probably look up and see the actual date, but I won't right now. But like I used to stream Super Mario Sunshine too.
Hmm.
I had like a capture card because there was like a new speedrunning trick that was just discovered, and like I was trying to learn it on stream. But I didn't have a purpose. I didn't really broadcast that I was streaming, so I just literally was just like doing whatever and just hit the stream button. So that's the original, but most people who watch me now started watching me within the past year when I really started like giving a shit about streaming, where I put more time into thinking about the streaming and like I basically changed my content completely.
Hmm.
So now I have like a brand for what I do, and like I have a dedicated day for my main thing that I do, which I think has helped me a lot with consistency and like not getting burnt out and
Yeah.
actually caring more about it because it's really different and I imagine you had a similar like
Experience.
mind
Yeah.
experience and mindset, yeah, for when I started from when you started. Um, and you've gone through a similar transformation with
Yeah.
the DJing and the podcasting.
Yeah. Because like it was like you said, like you just streamed just for the hell of it, just stream League, right? That's what I
Yep.
did for like a whole bunch of years. It's like, oh, I'm just gonna record myself climbing. And it wasn't for me to like deliver a content to an audience. It was more like
Mhm.
I looked at those VODs to self improve myself.
That's good.
Yeah.
And because like I don't know when this happened, but I well it happened because I started consuming a lot of Twitch, and in the years when I stopped streaming, before this year, I would consume so much Twitch, and I would just started paying attention to trends and watching videos, learning what works and what doesn't work on the platform. That I became like this person that a lot of people come to when they're thinking of starting streaming or when they have been streaming and they want ideas or basically advice. I became that person for a lot of my friends. And I commend people all the time who have that mindset, basically where you did and where I did, when you are streaming without uh, with a goal that is
It
I
was
wouldn't
more
say
like a
self.
personal goal,
Yeah,
let's say.
that yeah, absolutely. And having a personal goal is way more important than people realize.
Right.
Because if you get into streaming and you are right now, let's say you want to just start streaming like today, it's you're in a very saturated platform. And if you don't have the right reasons to start streaming, and if you don't have the right expectations to start streaming, you're going to have a really bad time. You're probably going to be very upset with the platform and the content you're producing, no matter what. And by that I mean, like, if you're just trying to get on the platform to make money, ultimately,
Right.
if you're trying to do that right now, it's going to be a long time before you break even for any kind of costs that it takes to start streaming. So I commend people all the time who have those personal goals rather than the monetary goals. You know?
Yeah, because a lot of the stuff that we put our time and money into is like very still in the hobbyist area, like, you know, the lighting, the lights and camera stuff, everything.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Those things aren't. I mean, you can if you look and tell me, cut me off anytime because
Yeah, no
I can
problem.
talk about Twitch trends and any of this shit. I can talk
Oh,
about all the time. Also, am I good to curse?
yeah, go ahead. You know, fuck,
Okay.
shit, cunt, pussy, you know. Just,
I forgot to ask you beforehand.
it's fine, it's fine. Like you, I think you're the second person to ask me that, and for them to feel comfortable, I just start cursing myself too.
That's right. Yeah, like I said, just feel free to cut me off anytime because I can talk about this shit
No
like
problem.
endlessly. Like Twitch
Yeah.
shit, all I can talk about all the time. But like you just mentioned, like it's still like in the hobbyist,
Yeah.
like I guess
For
sphere.
yeah, for most of us. But you know, we're
And
not like a full blown production team. It's just everything is just us. It's on us to
yeah,
do everything.
and a lot of the stuff it takes to get started streaming, people put up these barriers for themselves
Yeah.
who want to start streaming. And I've seen like I remember years back, I saw like GoFundMe's and like shit for people who wanted to start streaming. And it'd be like, I need like 2K to get myself all this equipment to start streaming. When really you don't really need that much to actually start streaming. The minimum you need is literally a computer. You don't
Computer,
need any. You honestly to physically, hit the stream button. That's all you do. Actually, no, you don't even fully need that. You can also
a
stream from your
laptop.
phone,
Yeah.
laptop. You
Oh,
can do it from your phone. There's so many different ways to do it. It's wild to me that like some people put these barriers up in front of themselves. Um, and I do it too to a degree where it's like I can't do this unless I have this. And a lot of that with streaming right now is they look at the more popular people, like literally any streamer with more than like 20,000 viewers.
hmm.
They look at what they have and they say, I need what they have. I need to emulate exactly what they have before I can be that successful. And that's not, you can't equate those two things.
Yeah, because like it's like one of those, when do you know it's enough, right? Because it just ends up being, you know, keeping up with the Joneses kind of thing for streaming.
Hmm. Yeah. It's, you can prepare yourself all you want. You can say,
Right.
okay, I need this, and this. I need this really fancy camera. I need this really nice computer, this really nice microphone before I can start streaming. Or in your mind, you'll say, I need all that stuff before my stream will be good. When when it comes to it, none of that stuff, unless you're like a just chatting streamer and physically people can't see you without a camera. Okay, I can see that argument there. But if you're just playing games, none of that stuff really matters towards the quality of your stream. Like the quality of your person and your personality, people are going to stick around if that's if you can keep them around with that.
Uh,
They're not going to care what kind of keyboard you're using or how good your PC can perform unless it's blatantly affecting like how your stream looks to them. Um, you don't really need those things to stream and to be able to gain some semblance of an audience. You got to work on yourself first. That's the biggest thing is
I
understanding.
wholeheartedly agree with that. Yeah.
Yeah, man. Like you can set up everything you want. You can have the nicest camera in the world. You can have the most beast computer in the world, but if your personality is shit, nobody's gonna stick around,
Yeah.
man. Like,
And the
that's
internet
the,
can tell if you're, you know, bullshitting or not too.
mhm. Yep.
So
So like people who to go back to that point I made earlier, like people who get into the hobby and are basically fake and like are in it just to make money right now, people are going to see through that shit. If if you're not genuine and you don't have a good personality and a plan for streaming, you're going to have a bad time. That's like that's the easiest thing I could say is like I could say all the things that probably will happen, but to sum it all up is you're just going to have a bad time with streaming. So
Yeah, and I wonder if you came across it before. It's like eventually, the longer you stream, you start to develop your own streaming personality. But it's not as far as like your own personality, but like it's a bit more exaggerated, more outgoing kind of thing.
mhm.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think I have started coming to that. I wouldn't even say realization, but I've started uh, thinking more about that because a lot of what I do on when I stream, well, rather than the past year, was like community oriented stuff or like playing games with friends. So a lot of it was just me being genuine who I am because I'm streaming to them and I'm streaming with them basically. So I wasn't somebody that was completely streaming to strangers or engaging with a lot of outside people, if that makes sense. So that streaming personality didn't really have to come out too much.
right.
But what started happening with my content was it started being less and less community driven stuff. And I had more fun and people engaging more when we did like where I would just be just chatting for a couple hours and just talking with people. I would have a, basically a topic and a plan for the night, and I would just go with that instead of okay, we're going to play Among Us for 4 hours, and I'm going to get drunk and be really mad at Among Us after the 4 hour mark. Um, so once I transitioned from that community oriented stuff to the more okay, here's me presenting myself for a couple hours, and then maybe I'll play some games or something. That's where I'm starting to have that development of the streaming persona, like you said, like understanding who I'm becoming when I'm streaming, and like noticing what I guess how I'm presenting myself now when I'm streaming. So that's just started. I would say that's still in its infancy
Yeah,
because I haven't had to do that. I haven't been doing that for too long. It's maybe been like two months, I would say, of
yeah.
streams.
I would like to say it's more of a performance because for me, like I don't really have a streaming personality per se. I'm
Mhm.
completely honest. Like you'll see me, I'm the same on the street. But like if I'm
Yeah.
performing a DJ set, then I sometimes it's fun to like put on a little eye makeup or
Mhm.
whatever. That's still like another persona that I like to express through music and art, whatever.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
So I get it.
Yeah, like it's fun. It definitely is fun to have it to be to treat it a little bit like a performance.
Yeah.
Like to make sure you look nicer and like make sure your room is clean and that kind of stuff is fun. Like I've been able to keep my room pretty clean. I mean, granted, there's some stuff over there that's just like
I
that's
like
whatever.
I like the shelves because before I think this was like a few months ago. Like I think you just moved in and I saw like a bunch of boxes.
Yep.
And then
Yeah, man.
there's this one thing you do in stream. So if you're not familiar with Zach's stream, ZLDSlim, like he'll do this transition where he's like, boom, instant transition. And I love it. It's like nothing high production. It's just like so clever. It's like, hey guys, I'm back. I'm like, wow.
Yeah. I don't know. Like I just enjoy doing like stupid shit like that because like I'm very low production. I tell people all the time like Andrew, one very good example, puts a lot of effort into his streams, and even you to it comparatively to me, put a lot more effort into your streaming, I would say, than I feel like I do. I just put like little images or gifs on my screen, or like I'll overlay an image for the instant transmission thing. It's just I line the camera up exactly, and then I turn off the image, and I'm just sitting here. So it's very low production, but I enjoy doing stupid shit like that so much.
Yeah.
And I have like a couple clips of like when I was talking about like Burger King and comparing Burger King, and like I had an image on my hand, like it was literally just an image I sized up on top of my hand, and I like pretended to throw it, and then I just turned the image off like a few seconds after I did this, because I'm not high production, I can't like track it to my hand and then turn it off. I did this, and then I went and clicked it. I turned off the burger image.
Oh, it's so awesome.
It's really fun.
Yeah, it's coming back to what you're saying. Like, you don't really need a lot, like high production stuff. Like, as long as you have a good imagination and a personality, you should be fine. Like,
Yeah.
that reminds me. You ever seen that guy, low budget cosplay guy?
Yeah.
He does that stuff. So I'm like, wow, I never knew you could do that.
I know. And dude, he's been around. I've never looked into it. Every time I see him, I'm always like, does this dude make money from this?
I know
Like,
he
because
should be rich.
I want him to be rich.
Yeah,
And he's been around for years. Like, I feel like I've been seeing him on Reddit and shit for like 10 years. And he keeps coming back. And he consistently gets upvoted. So I wish him the best, but like, yeah, like, very good example. I genuinely, every time I see one of his images, I'm like, damn, is this his job? Like, very, not like in a condescending way. It's like, genuinely, like, I hope he's making money
I
from this.
know.
I've seen him for 10 years doing the same shit.
Yeah, his stuff is like, it's not even like full blown production. It's like, wow, that's so clever. I never would
Yeah.
have thought of that.
That's the peak of low cost, low budget
Yeah.
performance. 4 panels, an idea, and an execution, and it's just done flawlessly every time.
And coming back to the background of your room, right?
Mhm.
A good friend of mine, I think you've heard of him, Hugs.
Yeah,
He's
yeah.
like a cinematographer type of person. He always, what stuck to me, he always said was, your background is a character in your scene as well too. Like, interesting. So
Yeah, that's a good a good thing for people to keep in mind.
yeah,
Like,
so as I stream, I always carry that, mindfulness. It's like, all right, is my lighting good, my angles are right, and all that stuff. But it's not really like high quality, but it's having that good mindset of like, all right, I really care about what I want to stream, what I want to show.
yeah, and that's something that I think it really depends on the type of content you're trying to produce, right?
Yeah.
I'm sure. I don't know him personally. I watched a little bit of your podcast with him, and I've seen him, with Andrew and Lynn doing some stuff here and there.
Yeah.
But I'm him saying that, I'm assuming the content he's producing, or he more leans towards having himself on the screen and talking at people rather than like playing a video game and maybe having his camera very tiny. Even still, if you have your camera on the screen at all, that background being there is going to tell a lot about you. And if you are really messy, that could maybe make it. I don't know. You may take the chance of having somebody leave because your room looks messy.
Yeah, there's
Or
things like that. Like, people will notice like things in the back. It's like, oh, you're really into like Mega Man or Sonic. I see those dolls. Or it's like, sometimes people would like ask, like, oh, what's that alien doll? It's like, oh, I found it somewhere at a party, and I'm going with the little space aesthetic. You see the little astronaut here in my tapestry. So it's those little things in detail that some people pay attention to, but it's like, it's a good nod that they notice.
yeah,
It's like things about yourself and your personality.
yeah, and having it there, like, perfect example, like having something there in the background that somebody could ask about is a way to get people or give people a chance to engage with you. Maybe that wouldn't be interested in the game you're streaming or the topic you're talking about, or even like the idea, or I guess the central topic of your stream for the night. If you just have something like physically or visibly on screen, again, anything on my back shelf here, somebody can ask me about anytime, and I would talk to them about it. So having that stuff in the background and giving the people an opportunity there can lead to people showing up and sticking around that wouldn't be in necessarily the wheelhouse of whatever you're doing, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Like, if I'm playing, I don't know, like, let's say I'm playing Apex Legends with Andrew and Lynn, right? And my cam is pretty big on screen, people can still see me, and like I'm streaming it. If having this in the background gives somebody an opportunity that wouldn't like Apex, but might want to still engage with me to ask about something back here, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. So yeah, it's come a long way though. Like,
Yeah.
all this shit is from IKEA. Well, everything but that this little black shelf here. This is from my house before I moved, but everything else is from IKEA. The bookshelves, the Detolf over here. So this thing too.
Oh yeah, I saw that on Snapchat. You're building that. It's like a little filing cabinet. What is that?
Yeah. So there's a very popular type of desk build that people are making, like especially since COVID, where it's like all IKEA. It's all stuff you get at IKEA, where you buy basically you buy a butcher block countertop. Excuse me, basically like a full wooden countertop. This one I have, like my desk is 74 inches wide and like about 26 inches deep. And instead of putting legs on it, you get these drawers. You can't really see the full drawer, but you get a drawer unit that's like 25 inches wide and like 20. I don't know. It's pretty big, and you put those at the ends of the desk, and you don't have actual legs to support it, and it looks really really good, and it functions very very well as a computer desk. So that's what I've got now.
Interesting. Yeah, right now, like I'm using my old dining table, and I just put like a black cloth over it. It has like all my gear and equipment on it now.
Hey, that's stuff people don't see. Functionally, it's not going to affect your stream, but that's stuff that like is really cool to have goals for, to update and upgrade down the line for yourself, to kind of keep this as a hobby.
Yeah.
And that's one of my favorite things about being so invested in my computer and having such a nice computer setup that I've been working on for years and years is even after I've gotten my ideal setup and my ideal PC and everything I wanted, I still have goals of things that I want to get to enhance anything. Literally, it could just be, earlier this year, I was like, you know what? I'm tired of these like pre-made keyboards. I want to get into making my own keyboard. And that's just a goal related to, my computer, streaming, etc. That keeps it interesting for me and keeps me striving for something,
Yeah. So speaking of like, it's like the little things, because before, like back when I streamed, it was like on the other side of the room. It was at a tiny office desk, and like when I would DJ too, you wouldn't see my face because I only had one camera, right?
I remember.
Yeah.
I watched a couple of those.
Yeah. So now, like, I even streamed myself with the cleaning process of it. People were like, "Wow." So it's those little things like that that bring you on a journey to like where you are now and how you want to produce the stream.
Yeah, and that reminds, just like you saying, your setup reminds me of back when I was like full degen again in League of Legends years and years back. I had this like 32-inch TV that I was using as my monitor, and my shitty pre-built or not pre-built, my shitty custom built computer I made with Sam. I had that up in my kitchen at my house. So I was living with my mom and my older brother. My younger brother had gone to the Air Force by then, and I would set up on my my dining room table with this 32-inch TV. The dining room table must have only been like 50 inches wide, so it took up a whole end of the table basically. And I would stay there in the kitchen, or sorry, in the dining room, playing League until like 6 a.m. And I would like hurry downstairs before my mom would wake up and my older brother would wake up, back into my room. Because that was just my setup at the time. That was how I was playing. It was so bad, man.
Oh yeah, cheers by the way. I'll drink to that.
Oh hell yeah, cheers.
Yeah, like if I were to have a 3-monitor setup, I'd probably need a bigger table because I can only fit 2 right now here. But it's
how many you have 2 monitors right now, you said?
I have 2 monitors right now.
Okay.
So,
yeah, like 3. It feels like for some people who never had 3, they always say it's overkill. But like after having 3 monitors, I never want to go back.
Yeah, you can't go back. That's what I always hear.
Yeah, and I'm actually looking. One of the goals I have right now, completely unnecessary, but I'm looking into getting it's like this really it's a 49-inch ultra wide monitor. It's a Samsung G9 is what I think is what it is. That I want to put beneath the 3 monitors I have right now, and then mount the 3 of these above that to have like one super monitor and then 3 monitors above it. Completely overkill and completely unnecessary, but it's just a fun goal to have.
Yeah, I have a very similar imagination of like how I would, if I had room, right? So it'd be 3 monitors and then 1 big monitor mounted up top.
Yeah.
Right? And I don't think that's overkill. Like for me, that's like enough.
Yeah, man. Like you would if you want it bad enough. Excuse me, these White Claws give me gas. If you want it bad enough, you could find a way to rationalize it in your head for you to want to buy it. You know, like if you really want it, you'll think of a reason. Like, yeah, you know what? It may be $1,200, but this is exactly why I need it. And you'll give all these reasons. Oh shit! Look at that.
Thanks for the raid, Kyle.
Thank you for the raid.
Hope your stream was going well. And I'll be talking to you next week, so stay tuned for that.
Yeah, stay tuned for that.
But yeah, how many cameras do you have for streaming? Two.
I have one. I think I have three. I primarily use one. The one that you're seeing right now is my main camera. It's a Razer Kaio. I had a second camera when where is it? I had this second camera. It's like a really old Logitech camera on like a little dinky little Amazon.
I have one of those too.
Yeah, it works really good. But I was primarily using it for, it was the Deacon cam. So when Deacon was around, I would switch to it, and like I would pet him and stuff. But I've since retired it since there's no really need for that anymore. But yeah, I only have I have primarily the one. I have another one I could use, but I just don't really have a reason to anymore.
Yeah, for me, I have two, and then my old camera that I used to have, or I still have, it's like not even 720p. It's probably like 480, but it still works, right? I use that for my deck cam. So
okay,
yeah.
I mean, it doesn't got to be a crazy expensive camera. Like the one thing that boggles my mind, and like this is just like I don't know, it's just a fun thing that I think about. This camera, the Razer Kaio, the one I'm using, out of the box, I believe it comes pre-scaled like at 720p. And like a low refresh, I think it's like 30 hertz refresh rate. To get it to look nice, to get it to look this nice, you got to actually change it in the settings to increase the resolution and increase the refresh rate. And a lot of people, I just think about the amount of people that don't like look to customization and like look to change that, think the camera sucks and thinks it's overpriced, when really it's a really good camera. You just got to look through the settings and make it, you can make it look nicer.
Yeah. So. I think I have a third camera. I haven't, it's like somewhere in my storage, but like I try to use that, because what I'm noticing now is like cameras, like they come in stock like once in a while, and or like I know there's like a shortage for electronics these days, so it's good to have those still.
Yeah, there was like a really intense camera shortage mid quarantine. Like this camera I have, like the Kaio, I got it I think last Christmas, not this past Christmas. So I had it. I was set up, and I had it, was good to go. But I remember, because like I look at like Razer products here and there, even though I have everything I need, I still like to see like what they're releasing and stuff.
Yeah.
And like it's all like on Facebook, for example, it's all people complaining about the stock shortages and like not being able to get the cameras, or not being able to get this or that.
The graphics card, man, all this shortage. We can talk about that. So.
Yeah, man. Yeah, it's crazy. But like you don't need, again, this goes back to what we were talking about earlier. Having a good camera is nice, but your camera could be, there are really, really popular streamers. One good example I like to tell people about, Moon.
Yeah.
He streams a lot of it before, dude, he streamed for like 3 years, Overwatch and like other games with no camera. No camera, apps at all. And he became one of the most popular Twitch streamers just based off his personality, based off of his skill. A lot of why he became popular was because of how good he was at Overwatch. And he got a break on the Battle.net launcher, like the featuring this streamer.
Yeah,
that's really what kind of led him. But people stuck around because he was a genuinely interesting guy. So you don't need to have an amazing camera. But again, it depends on the type of content you're producing, to go back to. Like, so you can have that 480p camera for your deck. You don't need a $2,000 camera, mirrorless, DSLR for your deck. You can literally just use it, anything you have.
I would say Lyric is another popular no cam streamer too.
Yeah. He never has streamed with a camera on his Twitch, I'm pretty sure. he's shown himself,
Yeah, on the
right? But
podcast.
on podcasts, but he has never shown himself uh, on a live camera feed on his stream. And that's insane.
I've seen his cats before. Like he used the camera for his cats, and you can see his hand. And
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
his
I
chat
think I
would
actually
go
remember
wild. It's like I saw Lyric's arm. Oh my god.
that. Yeah, it's crazy. Like I don't know. It's all. It's like different spheres of content on
Yeah,
Twitch.
depends what
Like,
you're looking for.
depends what you're looking
Twitch.
for. Depends what you're trying to make too.
Yeah,
My genuine opinion is it doesn't, even if you're just a, even if you're 100% just chatting Andy, you know, as long as people can see you, and you know, I don't know, climbing through just chatting is really hard regardless, but as long as people can see you and hear you and you have a personality, that's going to be the same amount of odds as if you have a $100 camera or a $2,000 camera.
right.
Dude, same odds.
It's like you can use whatever camera. It's like high end, low end, but it's your personality that needs to shine out through that camera.
That's right. Or maybe the camera is the friends you made along the way.
Oh god.
That's what somebody said. Somebody said in your chat.
Interesting.
Yeah. But for real, like I tell people all the time, like, or not really all the time, but like I try and make it very apparent to people who come to me and ask me like for my advice. The equipment is kind of secondary if you're going to be streaming. You don't need a cam unless you want to be a cam central or cam, the kind of content you want to make. You need to be physically on camera. You don't need all that shit. Think of what you want to make and think of the bare minimum of what you need. Don't give yourself those barriers to prevent yourself from making what you want to make. You know, streaming is hard enough as it is. Don't put yourself out there like that. Make it harder for yourself.
Especially if like you're investing like towards it, you want to make sure like you want to spend every worth of like what you're doing.
That's right. It's hard because like, and a quick aside here, I want you to know that how much I value you as a friend and being on this podcast. I missed the Pokemon 25th anniversary Post Malone live concert to be here. All right.
Oh my god.
That's how much I value this podcast.
I'm honored.
That was
dude.
like at 7. That's more of a meme, but that was on Twitch. It was crazy.
Yeah, I didn't know we could reschedule. My bad.
No. Listen, you know, I'll forgive you. There's a VOD. I can watch the VOD. But yeah, I forget what the exact topic we were just talking about, but
just streaming and peripherals in general.
Yeah, it's because I can keep talking myself in circles here. Like, you know, since I see Lynn is here, one good example, and somebody who does this very well and highlights it very well. You don't need expensive equipment to make a really good stream. Andrew, for example, he has 2 cameras. You know, when he's doing his when he's cooking, his cameras aren't expensive. I don't know the exact.
I think his secondaries are his old phones.
Yeah. Like he makes do with what he has, and it looks very good. You know, if I was nitpicking and I was looking at it, I could see maybe I could tell maybe this is only 720p or some shit, but that never is a thought that crosses anybody's mind who's watching him, because his content exudes and it distracts beyond that. And I wouldn't even necessarily distracts, but people aren't focusing on that because he produces a really good content. He has a very good personality for streaming. And if it's really good. It's very good to have inspiration when you're streaming or producing video content like YouTube. You should have a couple of streamers that you aspire to be like, or that you want to tailor your content to emulate, not necessarily copy, but you should have a list of people that you are actively trying to be like, because that's going to help you not wander aimlessly through the type of content you want to produce. That's just my opinion. Again, not to say, okay, I want to be the next Lyric, the next Moon, the next, et cetera, et cetera. But you should have a list of people that you've consumed their content, you like what they do, and you want to be like that, and you want to have one key thing that you want to emulate from them. And I have a list like that. And like I said, Andrew is a very good example of somebody who does very, very good content with a single multi-camera and not high-end equipment.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and your previous content before, because I noticed you were working on like Gundams and keyboards too,
Mm-hmm.
and those were like pretty cool hobbies you got into. So
Yeah,
tell me how you got into that. Well, I
yeah.
sort of
So it
know,
was
but
actually
yeah,
yeah, it was Gundams I've been doing for a long time. Like that's like this whole that detail factor is just filled with some of my all my biggest Gundams and
yeah,
like my most proud Gundams. I don't really ever broadcast me building those because that's just something that's like that or when I had a space to do it, that was a hobby I really liked doing when I would just pull up a podcast when I didn't feel like talking to people
huh.
or like being on a Discord with people. Just pull up a podcast, turn my light on, and just build it at my desk. Um, Keyboards were different. Basically, I couldn't tell you the exact day where I convinced myself that I was going to make my own keyboards. But I became suddenly very, very I think it was actually excuse me, it was after quarantine hit
Yeah,
when I was like, you know what? I want a hobby. I want something to because originally when quarantine hit, we didn't think it was gonna be this long.
right.
We thought maybe a couple months. So I was like, okay, I got a couple months. I want to make this productive. I want to have at least a goal of being productive in some way and picking up something new. So I was like, okay, I've always wanted to learn to solder. What can I do that would utilize soldering that would actually be cool and have an end product? Because I like doing hobbies that have like a physical end product that I can be proud of, like Gundams, for example. Like
Yeah,
when I finish a Gundam, I have a model I can display. So I was like, all right, with soldering, what is something I can do that has a physical end product that I can, you know, build? And also, holy shit,
hey
what's up,
Sam,
Sam?
thanks for the raid, man.
Yeah, thank you for that. But yeah, so the reason I got into keyboard building keyboards once quarantine hit, I was like, all right, I want to really get into soldering, and a lot of the stuff I do is related to like my computer setup. So I was like, all right, what can I do related to soldering that's going to give me something of an end product related to my computer? And that's when I got into the whole like mechanical keyboard sphere. And that was probably like February of last year when I started looking into it. And it's an expensive hobby. It is very expensive to make your own mechanical keyboard. It's not something that I would highly recommend to anybody who's curious about it. You know, if you're happy with your pre-built, like your Corsair, your Logitech keyboards, just stick with that. It's very expensive and it can be very costly if you mess it up.
Hmm.
If you try and build your own. But when I got into the hobby, it takes because of COVID had hit. It took like literally like 2 full months of waiting after I had bought parts before they arrived, before I could actually start building my first keyboard. Um, and I actually have my first one that I built right here, right here. And this was the very first one that I built. The keys I took off, or they're a little bit different, but this thing is solid. I don't know if you can hear it. It's like full solid metal,
Hmm.
and it's a 60% keyboard. Um,
Cool.
but it's yeah. So that was the first one I made back
Uh,
in.
press those keys again. I want to hear it.
These are kale cream switches. It probably doesn't mean anything to most people who hear that, but to enthusiasts, they'll know what it means. So I was very proud of that when I made that. That was one of the most satisfying things I've ever done. But
I mean, I still have my Razor Black Widow. I'm fine with that. No.
yeah, and like there's no difference between that and any pre-build I had. I just wanted something that I could say I made from the ground up, you know, mostly, and was unique, And I had that, and now I have like 4, I think, keyboards. But this is the current one I have that I've been using. This is like my baby. I
Wow.
learned because I got
Cool.
I learned from my first one and like stuff I liked about it. So I made I got a larger form factor and like different switches, and this is like my favorite one I ever made.
Yeah, like from what I've learned, at least this year, it's like there's a whole keyboard building community that I didn't know about.
Mm-hmm.
They
Very
also
dedicated
stream
too.
as well too on Makers and
Yes.
Craft.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, man. Like and it's really cool. And thank you for the comment, by the way. You like what's so cool? Like the coolest thing about getting into the keyboard building hobby is after the fact. And this is just recently because I've been, I just made my desk recently. I've been on the Battle Station subreddit and looking at other people's like computer setups. The amount that I'm now paying attention to people's keyboards, and I can now see and I know when people have a custom keyboard that is now catching my eye so much more, and the amount of people that I see with custom keyboards is crazy. There's actually a lot of people into this hobby. Like most of the people, and it's like hobbies that kind of are married with each other.
Yeah.
Like, you know, PCs and streaming. There's a good amount of people who are into streaming that are also into building keyboards, and a lot of those people are posting on the Battle Station subreddit. And like it's almost like every other post is somebody posting just their Battle Station. They're not saying they build keyboards, but I can tell that they have a custom made keyboard, and it's so cool to see that because I'm now like looking at their keyboard and I'm being envious of their keyboard. But I don't know the I don't know. It's just really cool to now like have that eye and like think that I thought this hobby was a lot smaller than it was, but every day I'm seeing it's a lot bigger than I ever thought it was because I'm seeing it everywhere.
Yeah, because like my friend said, your background and even your setup is a character of your stream as well too.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, it is a character of your stream, but it doesn't define your stream. I think it's very important to understand that too. As much as like you want to make sure it's reflecting of who you are, it is not who you are. So make sure to have that distinction and know like, yeah, this is all stuff that I like, but I'm not this, you know, like I'm more than this. Like I can talk about this, but this is not everything that I am, you know?
I'm not a Gundam. I'm not a cat.
I am not, as much as you might think, I am not a Gundam, and I'm not a Mega Man Buster. You know, yeah. I'm sorry. Sorry to disappoint you guys, but that ain't me.
So I have an interesting question. So would you ever get into VTubing?
Would I ever get into VTubing?
Yeah.
Me personally?
It's picking up and it's quite popular now.
Yeah.
Why not?
I thought about it. And I've thought about it because I have a very good friend of mine who actually took it a step further. He's like, okay, just like how I took my keyboard idea and I was like, all right, I'm going to do this. He's like, all right, I see VTubing is picking up. And he actually took it to the next step. And he's like, all right, I'm going to try and make it happen for myself. So he actually went through it a little bit. And he showed me the software that he had to use. And he showed me, like, I saw like the end product. And it's just not something that, I have nothing against it. I really like it because I like seeing like the trends with it. Because it is very, very popular, and it's becoming increasingly more popular on Twitch. And I have a very funny story. Remind me of in a moment to tell you about VTubing.
Okay.
I'm seeing more and more of it. I think I have nothing against it. I just like, I'm okay putting myself out there. The audiences I want to get myself in front of, and I want people to see it. I want them to see me. I don't want them to see an avatar of myself. If you almost could make the argument that if I don't know, this is a very loose parallel, but like I could also just turn off my camera and just load up an MMO, and isn't that somewhat similar to VTubing? Like in Final Fantasy 14,
your bodiless voice.
Bodiless voice.
Yeah.
It looks a little bit different, but it's some semblance of similarity there. And that's not the kind of content I want to do. I have nothing against it, and it works for a lot of people.
Yeah, it does. What's interesting is it's like having another, I guess, personality or streaming persona per se.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't think. And let me ask you this: do you think you could ever be one of those people that had that separate persona, and you could just flip when you started streaming as a VTuber? Could you ever do that?
I think for me personally, it'd be exhausting just flipping back and forth to those personalities. So
yeah,
but
I think
I commend a lot of people who do the VTubing stuff because like it's a different vibe, and obviously like the artist or 3D modeler has put a lot of time into it pertaining to like yourself and your personality as well too.
Yeah, and I think that's really, really cool to think about is the amount of effort that goes into it. A lot of people can't fully respect it unless you like somewhat attempt it, right?
Yeah.
Like a lot of people who are consuming the product or the media and are watching the VTubers, they're like, "Oh, that's cool. It's like an anime, person that they, it looks like an animation that they're interacting with us. They have this fancy, cool voice and they are emoting and stuff." But like I don't know the right word, but like the actual behind the scenes of that is very, very cool, and it's very impressive. Like the people who build these avatars from the ground up and create the resources and the assets to make the avatar, and then they're using a program to map it to your face and like have it react. It's really cool. Like technologically, it's very, very cool, and I really respect it. It's
Yeah.
very cool. And you don't really fully think about those things unless you're, unless you have the idea of trying it, and a lot of that concept can be said across most hobbies. Like you wouldn't think about what football players have to go through fully unless you are trying to play football. Like you wouldn't think about what a football player has to do to train. If you're consuming just watching football games, you wouldn't know the full scope of being a football player unless you tried playing football. But you can still consume the media of a football game and have this perspective of it, but you gain this whole new form of respect when you are trying to emulate whatever kind of media or content you're trying to watch. It becomes this whole new world when you try and like emulate it. It's really cool. It's really cool.
So okay, little side topic here, since you brought up football, like I think it's like a pet peeve of mine when like someone says like, oh, we're winning, right? Or such and such team is winning, so we're winning. I'm like, wait a minute, you're not the one out on the field throwing a ball. It's like, what are you trying to say?
I don't know, man.
It's weird. I don't know.
I'm with you on that. I think it's also weird because like I don't know, like the people who put themselves on the team, like they're like, yo, that's my, like the people who would fight somebody based off of somebody else disliking their team. I am so far removed from getting to that mindset. It completely just boggles my mind that people can do that. So I'm with you on that.
I mean, it makes sense. It's like, yeah, I was on the team. I was training with them all season. But like, no, you're sitting on the couch watching TV.
Yep. You've never met these people. You've never seen these people. Like, you've never even been near these people. Like, it's completely different than like like me being a part of it. You're not a part of it. You can, I don't know. It's a very complex thing because you got to be careful talking about that kind of stuff because a lot of people into sports are also very passionate. And like I said, there are people that will fight you. Not all of them, but you just got to be careful with it. Like,
yeah, it's weird how we attach ourselves to like these forms of entertainment as well too, because this happens in the streaming world as well too. It's like people will fight each other if you talk shit about their streamer.
Yeah, that's a whole topic we can get into that I literally could talk about for a long time. Parasocial relationships, man. That shit's so weird. Like to think about. It's a very weird thing that only just started becoming an issue. I wouldn't even say an issue, but there are some parallels there that you could draw between how, like what you just brought up, people saying we and putting themselves on a team and consuming a stream, watching your favorite big streamer and like thinking you're friends with them.
Mm-hmm.
Very, very close. Very close, I would say, mental I don't know, mental sphere you're in to be, part of that parasocial relationship and then be somebody so into football that you consider them your team. I don't know. I'm also kind of just grasping a little bit there, but I think it's very interesting.
Yeah, I get what you mean, and it's like it's so weird that we're exploring this on a new technology, the VT being Twitch streaming and all that stuff, and as we are on the camera, we also have to like be mindful like who we interact with and if we need to draw boundaries. If it's like, whoa, I don't know you that way, man. Kind of thing. It's scary sometimes.
It's very scary. And I have a really good example of like people like a lot of the bigger streamers try to avoid talking about that kind of stuff, like getting into that whole discussion.
Yeah.
Because it's dangerous. Like it could potentially affect their livelihood if they offend those people, right? So they tended to avoid that discussion altogether for that very reason. Because if they simply address it, or if they give a stance on how they feel about parasocial relationships, they could hurt the people that are watching them and supporting them and potentially their monthly income. So it's very interesting to seeing streamers, Dr. K addressing that,
Yeah.
because inevitably they're going to hurt or offend the people that are giving them their livelihood. I don't know the exact number or the exact amount of people, but it's going to happen if they're being blunt and saying, yeah, no, you're not my friend. We are not friends. I am a streamer. I will never be your friend. You need to have that boundary. Putting that boundary up is detrimental to, ultimately you could say detrimental to their income.
Yeah, it's a pretty weird space considering like our generation, we've seen like things before all this technology happened, because before we used to watch like, TV, and we didn't really have any like, personal feelings towards the person on the TV. It's like, sure, we just watched it for fun, but like we never interacted with them on a
Yeah,
chat kind of thing channel. It's weird.
Yeah, it is very weird, because I had that thought, or went down that path the other day. Like, streamers, these popular, like some of the more popular streamers, are as popular, if not more popular, than some movie stars or than
Yeah.
some household names 20 years ago. It's so wild to think that the people consuming the Twitch content and the Twitch media, there are people on this platform that are, excuse me, again, as popular, if not more popular, than household names when we were kids. And that's so it just breaks my brain, like, thinking about that stuff.
Yeah.
And they're just streamers.
Yeah, like now I don't think a lot of people, or a lot of people like, our generation or younger, don't really care about like Hollywood movie stars, because
Mm-hmm.
everything's on the internet. They care more about whoever's on Instagram or YouTube.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it definitely is like a generation shift, and like just a shift in preference of, I guess, media consumption. Like you said, everything's on the internet with millennials and Zoomers, right? Like, we are more akin to YouTube and Facebook for millennials, at least, and then now TikTok and Instagram, etc. The older generations aren't going to be as in tune with those things, and those things go hand, like, again, Instagram, Facebook. Those things go hand in hand with streaming and producing video content, because usually that's a hub for you to get yourself out there, or to make a community, and to foster your community. It's usually through those other social channels, and it's just a it's a very big shift that's been happening. That's very hard to address and fully comprehend, in my humble opinion.
Yeah. Especially now with like mental health and COVID and everything. It's just a
Yeah,
whole big super mess.
it's wild.
Yeah, it's a
It's
wild
wild.
mess.
Yeah, I mean,
It's like not really
that's
a good or bad thing. It's just there. It's like, wow.
yeah, it's there, and it's something that we're all going through together. And it's what led me originally to rebrand my streaming to Salty Saturdays and all that stuff, is because I wanted to have a way to hang out. Because I would I guess, and I guess this goes back to what you asked me, how I started streaming earlier. When I was still, before COVID, I would have friends over every Tuesday night at my house, coworkers and friends, to come play Smash Bros. It was like Smash Tuesdays or whatever I would call it. And when COVID happened, we had to stop doing that. And I really missed having like group interaction and playing games with a group of friends. And like, we were all like, man, we all really missed this shit. Like, not just my friends who played Smash, just like other friends too that I would like talk to and play stuff with regularly and like see. So I was like, all right, well, I feel like having, some way to interact with people that I can, also make it fun and make it an event where I can start streaming that stuff. So that's really what happened after COVID hit. That's when I birthed the idea of, streaming more and making it this Salty Saturday thing. So,
Hmm, that's cool.
yeah.
Yeah, like for, I guess, my hobby, it's like I was always into music DJing, but like COVID hit, I'm like, oh, maybe it's worth getting back into this hobby now that I have more time.
Yeah.
So because I always, I somewhat like going out, but
Mhm.
whenever I would go out, it'd be for music, and I miss like that atmosphere, just chilling and listening to music. And then for me, it's like I should be able to bring that to other people and have that type of experience. It's not the same, but virtually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
it's admirable. Like I think you and I are very similar in a lot of aspects. It's admirable to want to create that, that atmosphere for people.
Yeah,
I think it's yeah. I think we both just are very selfless in that. We miss something that we had before, and we're just trying to recreate that.
yeah, and
It's weird.
let other people enjoy it as much as we did.
Yeah, exactly. Like yeah, it's just very. I don't know, man. Like you said, it's just something that's there. Like having to deal with all this, it's just there, and we're just all dealing with it.
Yeah,
Excuse me.
we went through a lot. It's been like what, hour, almost an hour.
Yeah, it's been an
Dang, dude.
hour and some change, or maybe like an hour and a few minutes. It hasn't felt like it.
Think,
It's
and we
felt very. It's felt very natural. It felt
can still
very.
keep
I was
going
a little
if you
nervous
want.
coming on.
Really? Sorry if I made you nervous.
No, no.
Uh,
It's just. It's also because like I just haven't been on like a podcast or like
uh,
a long form
uh,
of content where I'm talking with somebody.
for me, like when I started this podcast, I was like, secretly, I'm like, I kind of want to know what my friends are up to on a personal level. Like, yeah, we talk
Yeah.
on Twitch, but it's like, I want to know what you think about this or that. It's so
Hmm.
interesting. And obviously, we had these talks before, but it was never like on the record. So
Yeah.
it's awesome.
Yeah, I like it a lot. I really like that you're doing this, and I want to actually go because like a lot of the previous ones I didn't get to watch live, and I was watching the just to get a feel of what to expect. I was watching your podcast with Lynn, and it's really cool because like it's something I can go back and watch, and I can know what's going on with Lynn now. Like our friends, I can know what's
Yeah.
going on with them because I know we're all busy right now, but it's
Yeah.
really like I said, I really like that you're doing this, and I hope that you keep doing it.
Yeah. Like, I wouldn't say I'm more of an interview person. A lot of people would say, like, I'm more of a conversationalist, like a Joe Rogan type person,
Hmm.
which what I'm not aiming to be, but like, sure, I watch his stuff. His stuff is pretty good, well produced, but like, it's good to be up there in his little area, his
Yeah,
sphere. So,
it's cool that people are comparing you to that though. I mean, yeah, I mean that kind of tells you what I guess how you're being perceived, and
right.
that's a good thing to understand. It's good to have checkpoints where you kind of take a step back and think, how am I being perceived? How am I wanting to be perceived? And try and figure out, do I need to align more? Do I need to lean in more to this Joe Rogan esque type self that people are seeing, or do I need to lean more into the JoJo that I'm trying to portray and that people aren't seeing? Those kind of checkpoints are really good. So
Because before, like, I was really awkward on the microphones. Like, oh, I don't like speaking. But now it's just like having a conversation.
yeah, you just got to treat it like that. Like,
Yeah.
and it comes with time. It comes with streaming. It comes with even before that, talking to people. Public speaking just comes with experience and time. Like, yeah, you could take a class on public speaking. I don't know right now if you could do that.
Mm,
In person, it's different online. You can't get the same experience of presenting to a group of people
true.
as you can over Zoom, but it's the same thing of like just doing it, streaming, performing in front of people.
Yeah. It depends what your goal is. Like, sure, I could
Mhm.
take a public speaking class, but like, I'll just do a podcast and just dive head in. See how it
Yeah,
goes. And I feel like it's getting better after each episode. And
I'd say so.
a lot of my guests are like very unique. Like, I can tell how they're vibing and stuff, what they like to talk about.
Yeah,
So
well, that's good. I mean, honestly, I think you're a great podcast
huh,
host. Like I said, I
thank
really
you.
wish that I'm hoping that you continue, and I hope you have success with it because I think you have something here. Um,
Hopefully I get that $4 million Spotify deal. No, I'm just kidding.
hey, I mean that's a goal to have. I don't
Yeah.
with all honesty, I don't know if it'll happen, but in my opinion, goals are very very important to have.
But
So,
yeah, like besides like the whole talking on air, what I do enjoy is like the preparation
mhm.
because it's a very good balance of like I don't want it too structured, but I also want it to be organic as well too.
Yeah.
And
Let me ask you this.
yeah,
And sorry, I'm so gassy. I'm drinking White Claws. Every time I take a sip, I just burp. I'm sorry.
fine.
Do you ever watch Hot Ones?
I do.
So do you see yourself ever becoming a host like the host of Hot Ones, where that dude does so much research into the people that he has on their show that like there are so many examples of him having people on and they're like, yo, how did you know this about me? Do you ever see yourself becoming somebody like a podcast host? And excuse me, once you've gone through your list of friends, do you ever see yourself being somebody who has people on or seeks people on your podcast and doing that level of research? Or do you always just want to facilitate like this organic, just kind of go with the flow conversationalist?
So I like to tap into both worlds because, I'm very grateful that I'm practicing my friends. But eventually I'd also like to interview like, people who are like into whatever professions and whatnot. And it's like, okay, let me try to read your book or whatever you're researching.
Yeah.
Just so it can be like a good product that I'm fine with, where if I was like the audience, what kind of questions would I want to ask this person, type of thing. So I would try to do my research, but like also make the guest feel comfortable in a conversation as well too.
Yeah. And I think, yeah, and this is just something like I don't know. I think this kind of just speaks to how I think. Like eventually, thinking you're going to have, if you continue your podcasting, you're eventually going to go through your friends that you want to interview. You're going to have all your friends done, and then what? And that's just like
Right.
me thinking like, what is that next step? How do you? Sorry, I just hit my mic. Like, how do you? What is next for you? Is basically what I was trying to get at. So that's pretty cool though.
Yeah.
I think you'll do well with that.
Like
Yeah.
it all depends to you and like the people you connect with and talk to, and if you want to pick their brain about something, you have them on your show. And also, like, I generally like to learn about new things. So if there's someone like in the field that like I'm curious about, I'll do my research, ask them questions, what I want to know, type of stuff.
Yeah, I keep saying this. I think you and I are very similar in that aspect. Like I could definitely I enjoy, or when I had my time in the small podcast I do with my older brother, I enjoy this type of content on both ends. I enjoy being on the receiving end of the questions, and I also enjoy doing the research and questioning somebody. It's very fun. So I like that. I could definitely see how we're both like we want to learn more about people, want to learn more about fields and stuff like that. So I like that. Like I said, I very much respect what you're doing, and I think a little bit of that comes out into my content too. So it's pretty cool. Pretty cool to see that.
Pretty cool.
Yeah.
Oh, there's like so much more we can talk about. Like, I feel like it's just winding down a bit now.
That's a problem I have.
Yeah.
I talk in circles a lot.
Like, there's
so
no,
I totally get it.
There's like no end goal per se for a conversation. It's just like the feeling of it. It's like,
yeah,
it's probably like 3 a.m. I should probably go home.
Yeah, we're done here.
Yeah, we're done here.
Time to go.
It's time to go. No more beer,
Yeah, I'm out of beer. Gotta go.
I'm out of beer. Time to go home.
Yeah, there's a couple of podcasts I watch that do like live streams, and they also do like pre-recorded shit.
Yeah.
And the live stream always devolves into like the good marker for them is they just have a time. They have a time when they hit their like 2.5 hour mark. They're like, all right, we done here. Is there anything else? They basically have like they did basically say this verbatim. Like they're like, is there anything else? Like, and if they haven't got through all their shit, they're like, it's already been 2.5 hours. We're done here. Or like, we don't have any time left. We've already been here this long. We're done.
Like Joe reckon he can talk to his friends for like an hour or two, but like he'll have someone like Elon Musk. They're talking for like 4 hours. Damn.
Yeah. It's wild. I mean, yeah, if it's something that you can have that time frame and you can have things there to help you guide it along, but sometimes if you want it to keep going, you keep it going. Or sometimes if it doesn't even get the 2.5 hour mark, excuse me, when do you cut it? When do you cut it? When do you say we stop if we're having a bad time,
Right. And like hopefully the audience, whoever's listening, like live or on YouTube right now, it's like hopefully it's not like long drawn where they're like bored, because what I learned was in Lynn's podcast, it's like sometimes it's good to throw a curveball.
Yeah, and
it's not like I'm trying to like gotcha question, but like it's fun. So I could definitely I couldn't figure out a gotcha question for you because you're like an open book. You're open about anything and you don't really care.
Yeah, I really don't care. There's nothing taboo.
Yeah,
that's just me. So, well, I mean, I can flip it on you. I can give you a gotcha
Okay.
question.
Yeah, go for it.
All right. Um, we kind of did talk a little bit about it, but this is something that I've been kind of, I wouldn't say obsessed with, but this is something I've been preaching a little bit to some people and like just talking, like, thinking a lot about this recently. What is your definition of success for streaming and for your podcast?
Oh, my definition for success for stream. Is it both or can it be like individual?
Let's do separate. What is your
Okay.
definition first for let's do first then. What is your definition of success for your streaming?
For my streaming, success would be to have a lively community,
Okay.
and a community that I I be fine that I fostered. Not also I'm fine with just like having a bunch of DJs because I'm sort of a DJ myself, but like you know, a community that doesn't support me, but they support each other,
Mhm.
and they want other people to grow throughout, you know, our interests. Obviously, you know, friendships can be formed, whatever. That's like out of your control, but like, yeah, obviously, like a self-sustaining community where, you know, it's cool to hang out, grow with, have fun.
Okay, that's pretty good. I mean,
Yeah.
that's it's pretty admirable. We talked earlier about like how if people have like fucked up definitions or if they're getting into streaming for the wrong reasons, it's going to be very apparent. Like, you know, like you're going to be people are going to know like they're in it for the money or they're in it just to try and get popular or some shit.
Yeah.
Um,
And one of those things is to like, you know, have a Discord, but I'm like, I could never have a Discord because like one, I don't stream that much. I'll stream like once a week or something.
mhm.
And usually like I like to say for fun that I'm homeless on Discord. I use other people's Discord because I like
Yeah.
hanging out with them in their communities. So
Yeah, I get
yeah.
that too. I'm pretty similar, but and the whole point of me asking that was not to put you on the spot or to be like, all right, tell me the reason you stream right now,
I want to get
or I'm going to
rich.
out you. That's not the point. I'm
uh,
genuinely, I think it's very important for people to have that end goal and to know like their idea of when they'll be like, all right, I made it. Like what is that? What is your I made it
oh
for your
man.
podcast?
So if I were to say I made it for my podcast, I'd say like, you know, I'm the top 5 most listened to or downloaded on Spotify or whatever. It's like, all right, I made it.
Okay.
But
Well,
then it would also push me further to like, okay, I'm not like number one as Joe Rogan, but like, you know, there's little things you can do. It's like, what can I find out about myself or what other people want to learn about kind of thing.
mhm.
And that's where I would try to figure out like where I would want to bring my podcast to, because right now it's like in a weird space where I'm just like talking, right? It's not necessarily a podcast for gaming, music, whatever. It's just like, you know, just us talking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think there there are there's a place for that
Hmm.
is what I'm trying to say. Ultimately, there is a place for people, and there will be people who enjoy people just talking. I'm at a point right now in my podcasting consumption where I'm like, I'm trying to explore other avenues of what I want to listen to rather than the same 2 podcasts I've been listening to. And uh, it's it's cool to see what's out there. Like because you can get so comfortable listening to what you listen to, and on the reverse side, you can get so comfortable producing what you produce. Like for me, Salty Saturdays, and for you, this form of podcast. But checkpoints again, going back to checkpoints, it's very important to every now and then think like, what do I want to change up? Do I want to step out of my comfort zone? Would that be good for me? Like that kind of thing is very important because most of the time, and it's perfectly fine to say no. I don't want to change anything, but your world will be very small to kind of be very. I'm being somewhat dramatic with this, but your world will be very small if you never step out of your comfort zones.
I
So
agree.
with everything you do, yeah, it really it's true. You become so much more worldly when you step out of your comfort zone in every single thing in your life, whether that be what you're listening to, what you're doing, how you present yourself, you know, like how much you exercise. Step out of your comfort zone and it will enrich your life in so many different ways. So that I think is my final piece of advice, because I can just talk in circles forever. But yeah.
Yeah. So that's interesting because so I'm wondering what podcasts are you into? It's
I
like name
listen.
the two or three.
Yeah. So the two that I religiously watch is the H3 podcast and the Two Bears One Cave podcast. So that's Tom Segura and Bert Kreischer.
Hmm.
That's the two comedians. They just like shoot the shit. That's the two primary podcasts I listen to.
Hmm. For me, it's still like Joe Rogan, and there's this other one with I found on Spotify. He used to be a YouTuber. Well, he still is, but like he's working on podcasts now. So Will Dasovich, Superhuman. So the purpose of his podcast, it's like highly produced, but it's like him interviewing like these scientists and stuff. And basically, his goal is to like min max himself as a human being. You know
Whoa,
that's like fitness, nutrition, and all
that's
this
really
other
cool.
workout stuff.
That's a cool
So
concept.
yeah, and it's not something like I would do per se, but it's like something good to listen to and learn about.
Yeah, and I think, and that's a, excuse me, a really good use of that time when you are listening to a podcast is getting something out of it that you're going to take and incorporate to your life.
Right.
And I think that's a really good podcast to consume to get something out of it. Is somebody who's min maxing fitness and nutrition. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Like that sounds really interesting, actually.
Yeah. Like for me, it's like, oh, that's a lot of discipline. But like he breaks it down through an episode how he went through. It's like, yeah, I've been like I had cancer. I was like stuck in a hospital bed. So like this is why I wanted to do this and that. Like, wow, that's awesome. If you can do it, then I can probably do it too if I give myself a chance.
Yeah, and that's a lot of people say that when they come out of those things, when they come out of like losing a lot of weight, or when they, anything like that, anything that's like inspirational or whatever, they're all like, I did it, literally anybody else can do it. And most people are like, I don't believe you, I can't. No.
What's
You're wrong.
inspiring about you is like, if I can draw an MS Paint, so can you. You can probably do it better. I love your MS Paint drawings, by the way. It cracks me up.
Thank you. I don't know, man. I just love draw. I love like shit production and shit. I just love
I
shit.
know. That's like your whole aesthetic. I love it.
I just love shit. Like I don't need to spend money on an expensive drawing tablet. Although Kelly did get me a drawing tablet to try and make my shitty paint drawings better. I don't need to spend money on that shit. I can just you have a little bit of imagination. It goes a long way.
Especially when
But I
you're
really
drunk too.
appreciate that.
I love those streams where you just like, all right, guys, you're gonna have to guess what I'm drawing here.
Yeah, and I have a friend who's actually, I don't know if we're doing it tonight for Salty Saturdays, but he did a spin on that too, where it's completely his idea, where basically there's a timer and there's a reference image, and we both have to try and draw it in MS Paint in a certain amount of time, and
Oh, that's
it's
cool.
it's gold. It is gold. So I'm hoping he and I can do that together sometime. But yeah, I just love shit like that. It's so fun.
Oh, that's amazing. Like,
It's
because
just so simple.
I've seen like high produced shit. It's not even like highly produced. They're just like really good artists, and they're having these two girls a quote unquote art date, and they were just like having a podcast just like us, but they were like drawing each other. It was so cool.
Oh.
Yeah.
Huh. That's really cool. That's a really cool concept. Shit.
Yeah, because it's like you're getting to know both of the artists, and then you're also seeing like their art styles and how they drew the process of their pictures.
Yeah. I mean, hey, that's actually genuinely a really cool idea.
Yeah.
And I mean, yeah, I don't know. It's cool to think about like that stuff that's out there, but also in the same vein, don't don't feel bad that you're not them. Because I think genuinely, I think what you have here is a really good idea. Don't feel bad that we're not sitting here drawing each other.
I feel like you can do
going,
the same with MS Paint, but it's it'd still be entertaining, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
No, everybody listening, don't steal that idea. All right, we're gonna make that happen.
That's Zach's idea right there.
That's my. Oh shit, that is a great idea.
Yo, this is why we're here. We're making ideas happen. We're leveling up. We're catching up on each. Yeah, I love it.
Fuck, that's a really good idea. Actually, MS Paint drawing podcast. Got it. Cool. Oh shit.
Oh man.
But yeah, this has been really fun, man.
Yeah.
I genuinely, I said it many times. I'm gonna say it again. What you have here is a really good thing,
Mm.
and I hope you continue it, and I hope you have a lot of success with it.
Thanks, man. That means a lot. It's good catching up with you.
Yeah, you too, man. Absolutely.
All right, we're reaching the tail end of here.
Yeah.
So
Can't believe it's been in like an hour and almost an hour and a half. It feels like.
yeah, felt like we were talking for 10 minutes.
I know. I know. That's awesome.
So the people watching you out there, what are your socials that you want to give out?
The only one I really care to give out is my Twitch. Like that's the only one I really put effort into is twitch.tv/ZLDSlim. I'll actually be live probably 20 so minutes after this for my main form of content is on Saturday nights. It's called Salty Saturdays. It's where it's mainly a community thing, but we'll see what happens. Like last like time I played like Guilty Gear, and then it turned into like Valorant, and then it turned into I don't know. It's just a fun hangout session Saturday nights.
Yeah, it's like I'm over at your house and we're just hanging out playing video games.
That's exactly what I wanted it to be, and that because
awesome.
we can't have that right now,
right?
And I really miss that. So
yeah, you have an Instagram as well too.
I do.
You don't use it a lot though, right?
I don't really post them. I use Snapchat a lot, but I actually need I need to change those because they are my first and last name. So
yeah.
I don't know that I should be giving those out.
That's another thing too. Like with Facebook gaming, people have like their full names. Like, wow, you guys are so comfortable, so brave.
Yeah, dude. people can find out like your whole life
right.
with just your name these days.
Right.
So yeah. But yeah, pretty much the Twitch is like I do have the Instagram. I'm not really super active on it. Like eventually, when I change the name, I'll probably be more active.
Yeah, that's another thing I gotta do. I keep telling myself to like get an Instagram. Like I know what I want to post, but it's just like putting it up and everything. I also have like a logo in work, so that's another thing.
That's awesome. I mean, it just sounds like there's some barriers you're putting up for yourself. You could just do it, man.
Yeah, I could just do it on MS Paint.
Yo, just pull up MS Paint, pull up a picture of yourself, and just draw it. People will love it. That's what everybody's telling me. They're saying my art skills are so bad they don't care, that they just like the end product.
Yeah.
What's stopping you from doing the same?
I mean, you're making people laugh. You're making them smile. That's like so worth it.
Yeah. One of the best things about streaming is that. Yeah.
Yeah. We can stop here, Zach. You're always welcome to come back and talk about whatever.
Yeah, I would love to come back.
Yeah.
I'll let you go through the rounds of give everybody else a chance because I feel like I could just talk forever about all the shit we talked about. I keep having to stop myself because we could just keep going.
And yeah, like we could also do like have you and Andrew talk about fighting games too. That'd be fun.
Oh shit! once COVID's over, the first time we're all able to hang out, me and Andrew we are literally going to like murder each other on a fighting game. It's gonna be so fun. It's gonna be so fun.
Wait, so
we get so salty.
So is there a rivalry for that? Like just starting game day, or was it just like a thing?
It did start at game day, yes. It did start at game day because like it started with like Smash Bros. Like we both like he and I are just like very like I don't know. We like fight. I don't know the best way to phrase it. We both just fight with our hearts so hard, and we take our losses so personally, and we just want to improve. And it's like I feel like we're anime characters when we fight because we just are like we're so close in skill level. And when he loses, I can see how hard he takes the losses, and I'm just like, Andrew, I'm sorry. I wish you would have won, but you lost. Now take that L, Andrew, and get better. I don't know, man. It's just fun. It's fun as fuck.
Man. But yeah, so
yeah,
I'll let you go.
Yeah, man. Thank you so much for having me, for real.
Yeah.
And everybody watching, for real, like keep an eye on this shit because I feel like he's got something great here, and I feel like this could be something good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Same to you as well. I look forward to your MS Paint streams.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Maybe tonight. Maybe I'll get some MS Paint going. We'll see.
Get a few drinks in,
I got a couple. I got 2 White Claws down so far.
Nice.
So try to keep this going.
All right, folks, we're done here. If you guys want to check out ZLDSlim, he's about to stream soon. So that's it.
Yeah. Thank you so much for having me, and thanks everybody for watching. Everybody who's still here, you guys are all great. And yeah, I don't know, just to wrap things up the way I want them to be wrapped up. Step out of your comfort zone, and it'll enrich your life in every way you can.
Keep that in mind. Yeah, for sure.
Seriously.
All right, guys. See you. Bye.
Like I talked before, I do a lot of just chatting before because I enjoy that.
Yeah. Let me ask you about that. What do you normally like to talk about, or what inspires you to do just chatting? Because like I feel for myself, like just chatting is really hard for me. It's really hard for me to like try to pick something up to like carry a conversation, unless it's something like I can bounce off of someone, I can respond, but picking up like just, hey guys, I have something to talk about. Like, how do you do that in your experience?
So, yeah, absolutely. And this is very, very. It is at the end of the day, no matter what, it is dependent on interaction from your viewers.
Fair.
To a pretty high degree. Like, for me, I'm able to do it because every time before Salty Saturdays, I plan out a topic, or what I've been doing is a theme for the night, that no matter what, even if nobody's talking, I can always just I can just go off for hours talking about this shit. Like a couple weeks ago, it was old Facebook videos. So even if it's 3 a.m. and nobody's talking, I can pull up one of my old Facebook videos and I can just play that shit and I can just react to it. So no matter what, there's like, it's better if there is some semblance of a reaction from your audience, but if it's not there, I'm still fine because I have a plan. It takes a lot of planning beforehand to pull it off in a way that doesn't seem like fucking stupid. And I'm sorry for lack of a better word, but it doesn't seem like I don't give a shit about. I'm just gonna pull up just chatting and I'm just gonna turn on the reaction, turn on to start streaming. I have a plan, and I'm not a reaction Anderson as JoJo and Swapney are saying. I have a course that I'm trying to go through.
That's good. That's good.
If we hit a couple, sweet nuggets of information or topics that people want to bring up,
nuggets,
then sweet
attendees,
chef's kiss meals of the night, absolutely, I'm gonna hit that shit. But no matter what, I've got the bare bones, point A to point B. This is my plan for the night. It takes a lot of planning beforehand. And if I don't have a lot of time to plan, it shows in the content. So at the end of the day, if you don't have a lot of people there which I absolutely think, it's 3 a.m. right now, and you still got 20 people watching you. You absolutely should have no reservations of doing just chatting, as long as you beforehand can think of what you want to talk about, and you can absolutely talk about. Because look, you do it every time you cook. Every time you're cooking, you're on the fly. You are ad-libbing. You are, you're reacting to people. You have it. You could do it what I'm doing, but way better because you're already doing it.
Nah. Drunk AF. Oh man, that's the thing. I hadn't been getting very many beverages recently. I wanted to this weekend, but I got lazy.
Hold on. You want the number? Don't. First off, what you're doing is perfect. You don't need to change any. You don't need to incorporate alcohol into it.
No. I just like beer, but I just haven't had it yet. Yeah. But go ahead. Go ahead.
The only reservation you should have, which you're very mindful of, is the weight gain.
Oh,
like I am fat. I am a fat boy right now. I'm the heaviest I've been in a long time. Ooh. You, however, have your Wednesday weeb workouts. You got all that shit, dude. You are set. You're good. You are good. Keep doing that shit. I
had to do that to counteract the food that I cook. But most of them, I can swap. Swap is getting me fat. No, actually, today's meal was actually relatively nutritious. So, thanks, Swap. Appreciate you. Don't sad me, man. Don't sad me, man.
Sad good.
Yeah, but I guess. So exactly what you're saying is that you're planning stuff out. I feel like I don't. Like I'm not sure how.
That's
like,
fine, dude. Like you could even
Go ahead.
if you think like 5 minutes before, you're like, all right, well, tonight I don't got much time. I didn't have any time to think about this. You know what? Tonight I just want to talk about how my week was. You have the power in you to just fucking literally,
That's
as long as
true,
you have
that's
a
true.
topic, you can think to fill however long you want to stream for all that time. Well, you know what? Okay, Monday I didn't do shit. Well, you know, actually after work I did this, this, and this. During work, blah blah blah. You know, you will think you and I, we are one and the same. Like we're you know, we have this, you know, ability to just fill time. You can do it.
That's true.
If you just think of
It-
simply the topic, you'll figure out the rest.
Fair. You know, yeah, that's like what happens with me. I feel is that I can follow like I said earlier. I could follow up with the topic pretty easily and try to spitball like ideas back and forth. So it is very helpful to have either like someone there to like bounce a topic off of or expand upon. It's just sort of getting there. Like that's a good idea to sort of think about a topic to have in your back pocket to sort of like pull out and just ask.
Yeah. Like if you have that lull and you feel, again, you and I, like I'm sure we, you know, we're paying attention to chat. We're, you know, seeing if people are saying anything. I don't want to miss anything anybody's saying. I'm sure you're the same.
Yeah, of course.
To a degree. I feel bad when I miss people's messages.
I do too, yes.
But when you have that lull where people are busy or not responding,
yeah.
For me, it's more, there are, you know, bigger gaps in time than probably what you have, because you have people actively participating more than I think in my stream. Which again, I'm not trying to say anything there. It's just an observation. But when there are those lulls, you know, having the topic is a really good way to just kind of what's the word? Center yourself, where you can kind of reset and be like, yeah. So, sorry, I was replying to, you know, Swap saying this, but Swap seems to not have replied for a while. Let me go back to my topic I had planned out, and we'll just keep going. It's a really good way to center yourself in that sense.
Okay.
So.
Okay. Interesting. Did you have anything you wanted to ask me by any chance? Not that I'm trying to like close anything out, so you ask me a question. I feel like I'm grilling you. It's time for you to grill on me.
Yeah, when I was on JoJo's, absolutely. I'm not gonna flip the script and reverse the podcast formula. I'm not gonna just turn this into my podcast. Yeah. But absolutely, like I could talk to you all night, but it's already 3 a.m. and I gotta go to sleep soon. But
same.
Regardless, a couple questions. Like
we'll keep it succinct as much as we can.
Yeah. And absolutely, JoJo, I know JoJo's still here. I absolutely want to go back on JoJo's podcast, because this stuff helps me so much in just talking to my friends, first off, and just talking in general. Like having, you know, I don't know, it's like almost like an interview. I love this shit.
Good.
But anyway, one question I want to ask you is, we're very similar in a lot of facets. We've already identified that through a lot of what we've been saying tonight. But one very, very obvious difference between me and you that I see is you actively participate in a lot more streams than I do, in terms of smaller streams. Like you are in a lot more Discord communities than I am. I support a lot of my friends, and I have a lot of time that I spend on Twitch, but I spend most of it lurking. You're JoJo saying you're a mod, whatever, but how has that affected your time on Twitch in terms of the content you feel obligated to watch? And obligated is a very strong word.
Okay.
You don't have to absolutely say you feel obligated to go participate in smaller streams. But for me personally, one thing that I really heavily struggle with is I have content and a few streamers I want to go watch in my free time. Moon, Lethal Frag, for some small examples. My default is going to them.
Yeah.
Do you feel this obligation because you participate more in you know, your friend streams, your smaller streamers? Do you feel more of that obligation, or just tell me what the perspective is, having participated more in a wider range of smaller streams than what you would consider what you want to watch? And that's very, very strong words I'm using. Think of it like extreme scenarios, you know?
Extreme. So the thing is, the big difference between us is that I don't really use Twitch as a platform to watch like big streamers as like a form of content. We're rather like the only like big like quote unquote big streamer I would watch like just because it's hilarious and I find it to be fun is like Avoiding the Puddle. Just because of his personality, and he's just like just him in his chat like it's just something to behold. But I don't quite have that like that want. I have that same want of you wanting to watch a big streamer, but that's to smaller streamers because I've become friends with them. Like they're kind of one and the same for me, so that's why I'm more participatory in them. And like the thing is, when you integrate yourself into their community, the community like knows you, and they come back to you, and they see your name, and then they recognize you, and so you guys like you get that sort of interaction. That's what I like about like participating in other people's communities. We get to know each other as friends, and I guess I never really feel obligated to watch anyone. Like sure, like I know it is like it's courteous to like if someone like happens to raid you, or like you hop into someone's stream, or like someone checks you out, and then you should say hi every now and then. But I treat like visiting small streamers as if they were my acquaintances or friends. There's no real obligation for them to come to me, but I come to them for a specific reason. Like, hey, I want to maintain my connection with you. Like I like you enough to at least lurk, but if I say hello and like try to converse with you, that's there's something about you that I would like to interact with. Whether it just be like, oh, I like the music that you're playing, or like, oh, what are you doing? This seems pretty interesting, or like watching gameplay, or being like cheering them on, or whatever. Like I may be busy doing something else myself, or saying, oh, you're playing this JRPG that I played in my childhood. It's your first time. I hope you enjoy it. Let me see what this is like. So it's more of like hanging out in a room than me watching TV. It's less of watching a show for me and more of interacting with a community. And I think that's really like the differences. I think it just seems like what you want out of Twitch is like the entertainment factor, but what I want, or what I sort of try to glean out of Twitch, is the community factor. You're not really, well, not that I'm trying to make any assumptions, but like I know you value communities and such like that, but in such a grander scale, because you've been integrated into the Twitch ecosystem for so long. You were there watching the big streamers all the time as a viewer. But for me, I never really was interested in being like a viewer for a big streamer. I essentially did it for myself, and then wanted to expand myself to other smaller streamers to sort of build that kind of connection and community. And honestly, these days, like when I first started streaming regularly, that took up definitely a lot more time than it really should have. So I've like cut down the time that I am interacting on Twitch and streaming a fair amount, to be honest. But I still try to maintain those connections every now and then, just so I feel that it's very rewarding that people remember you for something. Whether it's like, oh yeah, you've been hanging out on my streams and you say hi to me every now and then, or like, oh man, I've seen what you do, like that food that you cooked last week, man, that looked really good. I'm like, I'm so full. Like I still have like so many leftovers. So I find my like my sort of dopamine rush in that kind of interaction. Like sure, I know that big streamers, like they have their personalities and they're very entertaining and whatnot. That's just not what really draws me into Twitch as a platform, I would say. So I'm not sure if that really like answers the question very much. But I think the interaction with people was something that was more fulfilling to me than being entertained by someone who may not even see your message.
Yeah. And I think absolutely, I think you answered the question, and it very clearly highlights a difference between you and myself That's not like difference of our personalities. It's difference of our what's the word? A difference of our environment and preference.
Oh yeah.
So, and this is just something that you've always had, and again, it goes back to that admiration I had of you. Like you were always very much the person who could be like a hub of people to come to, and you could facilitate, you know, being a very friendly person to everybody who would come to you, and you exude that through Twitch still. Like you go to many people's chats, and you know, have all these people that you can become friendly with, and you can facilitate all that energy through people on Twitch, through chatting. Whereas on the flip side of me, I would, you know, I've been on the platform a very long time, but when I would watch and consume Twitch, I would never, I would almost literally never participate in chat ever, ever. I would watch the bigger streamers because I found them entertaining. I treated it, as you said, like an entertainment platform. I would basically treat it like watching a podcast or a movie or whatever, where I didn't feel the need to talk to anybody else. Where I was strictly treating it like I am here to observe. I'm not here to type and talk to anybody else. And that stuck with me because I did that for years and years.
Yeah.
Whereas you came in later and you treated it, because that's what a lot of people always treated the platform as, is a way to you know, foster a community and, you know, provide people with a place to share interests and basically, what's the word? You know, create a community from the ground up and talk to each other. Where I was never interested in that kind of thing.
Yeah,
and that's not a difference of us our you know our
like our values or anything. Yeah,
exactly. Not our values. That's just my environment and my use of Twitch was vastly different of yours.
Yeah, so, just like any sort of platform or application, it is what you make of it. And for me, Twitch is more like a social platform than an entertainment platform. Well, and of course, it's entertaining and stuff like that. But I sort of treat it more of like a social, a form of social media where, you know, I don't like to call myself a content creator kind of thing. Like what they even for me is like, what the hell is even that? I don't know why people want to talk to me every now and like all the time, or like what necessarily wants to draw them to me, but I'm thankful for it, and you know, I'll just keep doing what, like, keep being who I am, and if that resonates with people, then great. Like if you are able to withstand being in my chat for like more than like half an hour with like the type of music that I play, the type of stuff that goes on, or you hear, or that I say, then you're cool in my book, you know. And that's how I sort of treat it. Like it's an opportunity for it to be like an open forum. It's honestly, it's like office hours to me. Not that it's like work or anything, and that's what I kind of wanted to make of it. It's just like, hey, if you wanted to hang out, I'm gonna make myself available to do this at this time. I'm not sure what we'll be doing, but hey, we'll figure it out. And you know, and I know that's like a smaller I know that's more of like a niche kind of view on the platform, because I know a lot of the majority of the viewership on Twitch is more like, I want to see something entertaining, I want to see something skillful, I want to see something that's pleasing to the eye. But there are those like little pockets of communities that are like, man, I'm tired of seeing like super awesome game, like this guy stomping on everyone in pubs. I'm tired of seeing like all pretty girls or something like that. Like I want to sink my teeth into something more interesting, and those are the people that really resonate with me. There is a person who has like sort of joined our community specifically because of that. He was like, I saw you making coffee, and I heard you like spitting facts about it. I can you know, really, I can really jive with you, kind of thing. I can really, as the kids like to say, man, I could really vibe with you.
Ooh.
So like those are the people that sort of I try to like, I don't want to say like I guess you know, like capture their attention and at least get them to say something. And then if they never come back, that's fine. We had a cool interaction, cool. But if you come back, then cool, like great. Let's hang out. Let's do something cool together. Like swap here has become like he's definitely a very good friend at this point. Like we interact with him all the time. He's been playing WoW with us. Like and I met him out of nowhere, modding for a good friend of mine from the UK. So like
I honestly I recognize their name, and they are not part of my community.
Yeah.
I recognize them from your community.
Swap, you're famous. You're famous, Swap. You're right in touch with them. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's wild.
Well, yeah. So for me, I can see both angles, and I choose to play the smaller angle because one, it's I'm not stressing myself out and trying to be like, okay, what's up for the next stream? What content am I gonna create? I'm not too concerned about numbers. I don't necessarily have the goal of like becoming partner or anything, but all the support, whether it's like socially, verbally, monetarily, whatever, it's all very much appreciated. For me, that's the fulfillment that I get. Like I try not to care too much about the numbers, and you hear that from everyone. Oh, I don't care too much about the number, but as long as I sort of make some sort of impact, that's fine enough for me at this point. Yeah, but that's how I sort of, I guess it's because I came into the platform more of the creator mindset, because I thought of it as a creative outlet, setting everything like this up. Like the way that I have done this stream has evolved over time, just like everybody else. It improves over time, like assets and whatnot, and figuring all that stuff out was like my joy. Like, oh, this is really cool. I figured out how to do this. Oh, I figured out how to get like 2 cameras working so I could do a cooking stream. So let me get a little bit more gear, make that more like seamless, all that good stuff. So I like figuring that kind of stuff. Yeah. That's it.
Same here. Like it's definitely a very like my computer has ever since Sam helped me build my first computer. My computer has been like the forefront of what I sink my money into, basically.
Fair, yeah.
So streaming became an extension of that in that same sense, where like you said, discovering ways to make stuff more creative, and even if nobody's watching, I'm really happy that I can put 4 GIFs on the screen of a stupid image I drew. That's 2 frames of a left and right frame. Yeah, just it's fucking salty Zach, just left and right. And I can play music, and I can control the volume of the music, and people seem to like that. Like, that shit just makes me endlessly happy. And like what people have been highlighting recently is I put so little effort into like the visuals of my stream. Like even you got snowflakes right now on stream, and I've asked you like what you use for your transitions, and like I love all that shit. It's really cool. But like for me personally, I'm very content with no transitions, no glam, no fancy shit. I just like drawing shit in MS Paint and letting people be impressed. That's just MS Paint skills.
Yeah, I mean that's definitely a way to go. I mean some of the biggest streamers don't give a shit. This is just case in point, avoiding the puddle. He just has his broken ass like webcam from like 20 years ago and the game capture, and that's it. And then sometimes he makes it bigger, sometimes he makes it smaller. Sometimes it's broken and he has a green screen, and sometimes it's not. It's just hilarious. It's great. Typical clever is yeah, exactly that. It's just great. It's sometimes just like how crude it is. It's the best. As long as it works. I mean, like your face and that name right there. Right on the spot, just because I knew how to do it in the first place. Just like whatever. But hey, it works. I think it looks cool. I think you look cool. I like this like me looking at you and like kind of thing. Isn't this?
I arranged my my shit so that I noticed when I'm looking at this monitor, because I have 3 monitors. I'm looking towards you. I could have moved it. We're both savvy in that sense. We both are adapting and doing it on the fly, and it's good. We cannot undermine our technical acumen in that sense. Not everybody could do it. It's simple, but not everybody could do it in the same. We have to give ourselves a little bit of credit.
there's definitely like a factor of effort. There's definitely a lot of effort that goes into this kind of thing. It doesn't really come easy for those who aren't streamers themselves. This is a long time coming.
Yeah.
Oh, so one, I know you need to get to sleep soon, but one last question from me to you. I guess then while we're on the topic is that, what do you feel like right now is an aspect about the platform that either annoys or disappoints you? What do you feel like is like the one thing that might be going wrong with this platform? Give me some of your tea. Give me some of that.
Yeah, it's hard, man. It's honest in all and 100% complete honestly. I don't really pay attention to what's wrong. I usually pay attention to what's
going right.
Absolutely 99% of my opinion in like what my attention goes to what's right.
Okay.
Because what's going wrong, and you can make the argument for either.
Fair.
What's going wrong, I don't need to care about, because it's way easier to see what's working and emulate that and care about that than what's not working, because you won't see it. If it's going bad and it's not working, it won't get visibility. People will not be there to watch it.
Or let me rephrase it. Since you have that perspective, what do you feel that is a successful strategy and or like aspect about streaming that you don't quite agree with? What do you feel like is going so like I guess we'll bring it to numbers, pulling the numbers so much, but you feel like it shouldn't and it doesn't deserve?
Right now specifically, it's a and this is kind of like what I like doing is thinking about shit really long time and then getting a really solid take on shit.
Okay,
but
fair.
Again, that aside, this is something that I'm just kind of being put on the spot, and I think is a pretty good thing that peeves me off a little bit. And it's a very similar parallel to YouTube, and in that YouTube, if you think about it, there are content streams and there are content spheres that should have an end. Like, for example, a video game. There should be a beginning and an end to the video game. You should have a YouTuber who does a Let's Play that does from the beginning to the end of the video game, and then that series is done. On YouTube, there exists, again, it's not a video game, but there exists content, and there exists these infinite loops where they can just continuously produce and make this content
like the same thing. Yeah,
correct. Where it's basically maybe one slightly new little thing, but it's the same piece of shit that they're polishing over and over again. It's just over and over. They're just making the same shit over and over. And what's happening now on Twitch what's happening from that YouTube, that concept is it's bleeding over to Twitch. One very, very clear example, and this could have existed for so long, I just maybe didn't. It maybe wasn't on my radar. Is one very obvious example on YouTube, and it's a very broad example, is drama. Whatever the flavor of the month drama is on YouTube, whatever Jake Paul, whatever the fuck he's up to, whatever the flavor of the month drama is, anybody can make a video about it, and it has a very good chance of getting visibility because it is current.
It's the hot topic. Yeah,
it's the hot topic. Well, that's starting to come over into live production videos, where they are finding ways to produce a content over and over rather than producing a unique content. It's a small spin on a very, very, very similar type of content. And what right now the flavor of what a newer type of content is unbanned forums. It's the biggest content creators, because only the biggest people can do it. Only the biggest content creators have that massive volume of people who have been banned from their channels, where if you've been banned, you can submit an unban request, and they can turn that into a 3-hour stream,
and like a YouTube video. Yeah,
exactly. And it's not, maybe it's like fun one time, but that the infinite loop content creations is ultimately bad for the platform in my shitty opinion.
Interesting.
It's just, again, it's just like people watching it, you may get like a laugh the first time,
Yeah.
but after the fact, it's like
It'll be the same
this
stuff
is
eventually. Yeah, you're gonna hear
the
everything
same
at
shit
some point.
with
Yeah,
a different polish.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
yeah.
It's like,
Depending who the streamer is, it'll be like if it's a guy, it'd be like, you're an asshole, blah 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 blah. He's like,
Yep.
yeah, keep this guy fucking banned or whatever. Yeah, I get you.
Or
I
if
get
it's
you.
like a female. It's like, obviously you're being sexist, or like you're
mm.
commenting on the fact that she's pretty or some shit. It's like the same shit, and I'm not taking away from the streamer. It's just they are not abusing is very strong. They are exploiting. Maybe that's less strong. They're
Exploiting, yeah, definitely.
Yeah, they're exploiting this content. They
Capitalizing
are knowing
on
that
it for sure.
That's the best word.
Capitalizing
They are
it, yeah.
capitalizing on the opportunity, and that infinite content loop is just not good. That pees me off.
Like the capitalization on that particular topic will definitely stifle. So like it's stifling innovation, not making people think of what the how they can, I guess, improve or rather spice up what they're doing next.
And you think about it, it's exclusive to this particular form of content loop is exclusive to the biggest content creators. Me and you couldn't make this content. We don't have unbanned forums. We don't have like hundreds of people requesting to be unbanned from us. We could not make this.
Yeah, very true.
It's an exclusive content type that the biggest content creators are exploiting, that they're going to keep exploiting until people stop watching, at which point they are basically biding their time waiting for the next thing that they can hop onto, the next Among Us or the next big video game that they can hop onto. It's very complex, but it's very smart, and I don't blame them for it. It just is it's frustrating.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. Like I knew that the unbanned like streams and like videos were a thing, and I thought they were kind of interesting at first, but then now that you bring that thought to light, I can understand how it can be a bit stale after a couple of times. Yeah.
Yep.
For 3 hours, like doing that kind of thing for like 3 hours and appeals become entertainment, but it gets still because there's only going to be so many like outcomes and like different flavors of the same thing.
Yep.
And like sure, maybe like so the one thing that I can sort of see like it's sort of evolving to is that those ban appeals become meta, but what's the
people will they'll try and get banned. They'll purposely try and get banned to try and get on that. It's bad.
Yeah, it's a feedback loop. You're right. Now that I think about it,
it's a bad feedback loop. Like I said, when I said verbatim, it's just bad across the board. Like it's just bad. Like I can't express fully like the full.
Fair.
I think about the full, the beginning to end of the loop, like everything. It's just bad. There's no good that comes from it except for a few hours of entertainment to begin with. And that, it's just bad.
So, JoJo, he's talking about the hot tub metaphor. Just oh my god.
Yo, listen, the real talk. They had hot tub connections at my house here, but they took away the hot tub in our backyard. We got the hookups for a hot tub, bro.
Let's get
going.
We'll
set up with a hot tub, bro. Right out back.
Bro. IRL stream, just chatting in the hot tub. Let me get more ripped, please.
You want to see this fat? You want to see this shit?
I'm trying, like my goal for before Halloween is to try to get as ripped as I can so I can cosplay Angie Mito.
Angie Mito, what's that?
From Guilty Gear, the fan guy.
Oh fuck! Yo,
he was my favorite character, and go ahead.
No, you're good. No, go ahead.
He was my favorite character in the Guilty Gear he was last in, and now he's coming back for Strive, and I want to cosplay as him in the new outfit.
Oh, cool! I like his new outfit. I think you could do it.
Yeah, I gotta get a bit more ripped.
You need a little bit more pecs in like the 6-pack.
Yeah. I gotta do it. I'm working towards it.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, well, hot tub meta. Whenever the pandemic's over, hopefully the hot tub meta's
over. Or whenever. Well, Kelly got her first vaccination.
Oh, good, 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 good. I was actually having a trouble trying to get mine because of I tried to get my vaccination last week, but it was snowing. You know, the weather was bad, so the place where I was trying to get it wasn't able to get their shipment. So unfortunate for me, everyone's getting their vaccinations before me. I'm like, man, I'm slacking. Well, not that I'm slacking. It's just unfortunate that I haven't been able to get it yet.
Yeah, I'm gonna try next, like this upcoming week. I'm gonna try and go to one of the mega sites and go in as a walk-in, because apparently
That's a
you
good
can
idea.
get pretty
Yeah,
good success.
yeah, I should probably do that. We'll
If
see,
you
but it depends on
gonna
you. Go ahead.
Your mileage may vary heavily, but get there by 4, and yeah, just expect to wait and see what happens, because it completely depends on their appointments and people who miss the appointments and shit like that. So
oh well, if that's the case, I'll probably just go out with my workplace and like try to get an appointment set up and just
if you can get
have
a
it be a
guaranteed,
short seat. Yeah,
do a guaranteed if you can. I don't have that because I'm through my workplace, because I work for fucking, they don't give a shit about me, but like I just gotta, I'm out here with the wolves, man. I'm just trying to get fucking, I'm not a smoker, I'm not trying to lie about smoking and shit.
Fair enough. Okay, it is 3:30. Any other topics that you wanted to cover, or are you feel like now is a good time to?
Responsible me would want to say now is a good time to shift kiss,
Okay.
end it.